Oh, hello. Were you one of the crush in our room last night? It was a large party. I'm so sorry if I missed you. Many things happened. I could, allow me to explain what happened last time on Fate's End. Late last night, as we were all winding down, I think, for the evening, Prayaria had received a vision, a message from her younger sibling. Very serious. Something terrible was happening to her family. Phil and I was there with her at the time, and I'm so glad he was there to help her gather everyone together. They had to fetch Samson from, actually, the room across the hall from our party's room. The room of the party of Auroria's blessing. He was forming a steady companionship with their leader, Alaren.
Oh, here, Pray, let me help. Can I try and kick the door open?
Boom! The door just kind of goes boom, boom, and you see Samson. What do they see as you're thrown in the fires of passion, Samson?
I like to think that it's probably pretty PG-13 right now. Right.
I mean, I hope it's PG-13, of course.
It hasn't been that long. I imagine that Samson and Alarin are in a furious makeout session. They're both in various stages of undress.
Prayaria believed that the best way for her to reach her family, to be able to help them, was to get in contact with, let's call him a friend of Samson's. A friend that he had previously introduced our dear Prayaria to.
After the Undercity, before we left Lacandria, I asked Samson to contact someone named Samir. And I made a deal with him. He gave me power, and I need his power again tonight. Something has happened to my family. I don't know what, but anything I can do to find out, I will.
According to Samson, the best way to flag this friend, Samir's, attention is to throw a party. He told me to reapply my makeup, wear my finest perfume, gather up some live music. We all went, gathered the crowd. Luden was on the refreshments. He became, I do not know how to say this politely, Luden became rather extraordinarily intoxicated.
So Luden is probably stumbling at this point into the room, and he'll just go like, "You're booze," and he'll go sit down.
You got drunk on your way up the stairs.
That's how bad. And Luden is.
That's how committed he is.
Down.
He got halfway up and just paused for a second, just down the whole
There are 19. There are 19 things left, not 20. Luden did that whole one. He puts it all out. He's like, "Okay, yeah, I'm helping you. Okay."
Yes, you are.
We all managed to gather quite a crush into our room, and the party was in full swing. Still, Samir was taking his time arriving, and things were beginning to escalate. Luden, being drunk, tried to shoot someone in the head, and then dear Finalai distracted him with some very, I don't know, machismo, wrestling, testosterone business out on the balcony. But even that was still not enough.
Is he really like, okay?
Yeah.
Hey, Luden.
He'll love it.
What?
Do you want to fight?
There we go.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, straight up, like, he turns, eyes, like, hand on the thing, caps crimson right again, he goes, "Let's go."
Ben, are you sure you want to?
I mean, it's better than him shooting somebody in the face,
And he
right?
goes at him, and then he jumps.
Take it to the balcony.
I had my concerns. I asked Samson, is anyone going to get really hurt? You know, with these kinds of things, these kinds of beings, that is always going to be a possibility. And Samson said, no. Less than 2 minutes later, he was being stabbed.
He's asking her, does she have to stab herself or stab Samson?
No, you can stab me. You know, you don't need to get hurt. Spray her. Looking at everyone else.
Why does he like
here.
for you to die all the time?
I don't know. I don't plan on dying, just once. It'll be okay.
So, maybe Samir is less interested in the parties and more interested in seeing his friends bleed. That is, of course, when he deigned to arrive.
You just see, leaning very casually against the wall, their violet purple-esque eyes glowing under their hood. You see Samir, and he's looking at you, just kind of leaning against the wall, smiling, or smirking to the side.
He was, to my estimation, a fairly typical being of the Fae. Beautiful and all of that, but, you know, at the very core of him, a capricious and narcissistic thing. He was still willing to help Prayaria, and Prayaria needed the help. I am glad that Prayaria got what she needed. Samir took Samson and Prayaria to see what had become of her family home.
Your home is dark. The thick of the canopy blotting out the sun just like you remember, but the plants, the trees are black, sickened. Every inch of your home looks sickened and dying. Large, thick fungi that wasn't there before oozes a vibrant red sludge from some of the fungi, like blood-filled pustules. The trees bend slightly, like Spanish oaks burdened with moss. You stand at the precipice, the entrance, looking in only darkness. Silence accompanied by the smell of rot and decay all around you. This is your home, but not as you know it, not as you left it.
It was terrible. Elrixis, who is some sort of a shade witch in the wilds, had destroyed her home. And more than that, she had taken her family away. It was being there to see it, I think, and then knowing with her own eyes and ears and heart what had happened to her family, that it all really brought Prayaria to a point that I cannot blame her for.
You know something? Ever since this all started, I have had a dream. Every night the same. There is a woman. I never see her face, but she stands in the middle of nothing where there was something. And on her head, a crown, dripping with blood. And at first, I thought it was your witch, this Elrixis. But now I think I know. When you take us back, and you go back to your world and your people, you tell them that if they want a queen, they will get one.
Back at the hotel, Luden scared away all the guests before heading downstairs to sleep off his intoxication. Aramir, Finelai, and I tidied up the place, paced in circles, discussed whether or not Samir was a trustworthy ally. Finelai, I think, just wants... No, I never know what Finelai wants. He believes, I think, that Samir is innocent until proven guilty, maybe. Aramir is more reserved. He's withholding his judgment. And once I have set my mind on an opinion, it is is very difficult for me to change.
Do you know a lot of Fae Esperis?
No, I don't. I just hear bad things.
So we should be concerned then.
They'll be back soon. Everything's alright, I'm sure. Prayaria and Samson returned, their friend demanding better party next time. I brought Prayaria tea. Samson brought Prayaria keys to a private room for the night. I had to ask him about it, and he said that he trusted Samir. Or at least that he did not believe that Samir would actively work against Prayaria. But the creature has her true name. This is something that Samson has allowed to happen. This is... These are not helpful things for me to say.
And
Never known a Fae to stand for anything, so interesting to hear of.
I'd imagine you'd say that. But just because something's dangerous doesn't mean you can't be friends. You just gotta know which ends are sharp, you know?
Tea's getting cold.
Hmm.
The party did have our discussion before breakfast. Prayaria was very open and honest about how open and unknown the future is right now. We wait on Samir's word for our next steps. Luden was of course concerned that perhaps more in the party had deals or partnerships or patronages that they were not sharing with the group. Luden, do you have an agreement with someone?
It's a conversation for another day.
Well, we're going to breakfast. We could talk about it there.
Looks like the present.
And you brought it up.
Fair. Well,
You don't have to talk about it now.
Does it have any-
But you
Luden
could.
will sit down and we'll just be like, yeah, why not?
Does it have anything to do with our...
Been looking for my shadow.
Wait. Have you been keeping this from us, Luden?
Let's go to breakfast.
No,
And
no,
we'll
no.
just go ahead and stand up and walk downstairs and start going to breakfast.
Admittance by denial. Or silence in this case, or avoidance.
After tabling that conversation for a later date, we had our breakfast with the blessings of Prayaria. I do want to say that I genuinely find the majority of their party to be perfectly companionable, kind-hearted adventurers, and it is worthwhile to foster a friendly relationship between our two groups. Urmir, I think, is making friends with their artificer, Reynard, which is lovely to see, of course. And then there is Samson and his... Zelen specifically, I think, is not a good person. We're so sorry to keep you waiting. We had a family emergency not appropriate to talk about with mixed company, but thank you so much for all of your patience.
Zelen just kind of like, she kind of stifles her irritation and she goes, of course, yes. Tea eggs and boiled snake, for those willing to partake, of course. This is the culture of the area. Fresh baked bread, unleavened, for the less adventurous, of course. Please, all of you, I have gathered breakfast. We have been waiting very...
She led a prayer over our breakfast to the elder gods. It was extraordinarily long, overbearing, and culturally insensitive. I would personally consider it an act of religious aggression, and it clearly made Finelai very uncomfortable, and again, I am not saying helpful things. If I am not saying helpful things, I am finishing my thoughts. Right here. Our breakfast was interrupted by a worm. A giant worm, Remeras, as it goes. It is an odd spot, but I am in some ways pleased to be presented with a problem with such a clear and immediate solution. Especially because once the Remeras is done away with, we will be playing a waiting game with Samir. I believe we are headed to Sable for our waiting. Ormir has specific personal business in the area. I apologize. It is, I know, very unkind, and you could say even hypocritical? I don't know if this is the term in common. I genuinely believe that Prayaria is too good for the Fae. She's very wise and has been nothing but kind that I have seen. And to see her friend allow her to be taken advantage of in this way, though I know that this is not the way that he is seeing it. It is in... Remblace sent me to this party to ease the path they walk, not to direct the path. That would not be the way of the temple. For the temple, and for Prayaria, of course, and my friend Luden and Finlay and all of them, I am happy to be of service. To see where their path is taking them, you can join us on Monday for our next episode of Fate's End.